this is something that's become blatantly obvious lately, but accusation after accusation after accusation against men for sexual harassment and other supposed crimes has become a complete epidemic. And I'm not saying that some of these men are not guilty of the crimes for which they've been accused. Heck, they could all be, or none of them could be. It's not my place to decide. But what I am saying is that there are two things that I think have led to this epidemic, and both of them are inherently dishonest. So first, let's take a short look at people who've been thrown under the Hollywood bus of late. Now keep in mind, this is not remotely a complete list because new accusations are appearing every single day. And on the political side, it's pretty hard to miss. Everyone from Roy Moore in Alabama to President Trump throughout his campaign, mud being slung at politicians is becoming commonplace. But there's one thing that seems to be nearly universal in all of it, that none of the allegations are ever validated with even a shred of objective evidence. Now, I don't know if they're guilty or not, and frankly, I don't care. I mean, I don't live in Alabama. I couldn't vote for Roy Moore even if I wanted to. But the place to make these allegations is in a court of law, not the court of public opinion. We've got this thing in America called being innocent until proven guilty. Well, not anymore, apparently. So, why is this? As I said, I think there are two reasons why this is happening right now. Some people have talked about the first reason, or at least tried to make some sense of it, especially when it comes to far-left, beta-male, feminist sympathizer men who've apparently been caught with their hands in the proverbial cookie jar. And that's because a lot of these people are deeply disturbed by their own actions, and they're trying to project their own flaws onto others. So yes, they are sleazeballs, people like Joss Whedon and Harry Knowles and Al Franken and Charlie Rose, but it's hard to look at them kissing the asses of radical feminist dogma while being guilty of all the things that feminist dogma supposedly hates, How can we see that as anything but projection? But that's not really my take on it, as much as that might be the case. Because in so many of these cases, beta male or otherwise, a lot of the allegations are old. Just old. I mean, in the case of Roy Moore, it's a 40-year-old case that, surprise, surprise, nobody ever bothered to talk about before. Wonder why. But that's really what I'm getting at, and this is seen across the regressive spectrum, that the far left doesn't seem to realize that things change, and they can't hold the past accountable to the standards of the present. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. I mean, remember not too long ago ripping down all of the statues of Civil War era soldiers because slavery is wrong? Because now even the hint of racism must be scrubbed from the history books? Because the only standards are their standards and context is not something they've got even the slightest clue about? Yeah, those idiots. Well, this isn't any different, except in cases of out-and-out rape. Back when those things supposedly happened, pretty much none of them were illegal or, heck, even out of the norm. Now you can argue that that shouldn't have been the case, but you can't argue that it wasn't. Don't like it? Too bad. So sad. Screw you. So what you have here are people desperately trying to retroactively remake history in the image of the morals of the moment. All that matters is what they believe right this second, because anything else makes them feel bad. So they feel the need to whitewash history. Well, that's a bad word according to them, but that's really what they're doing. It doesn't matter if people in the past acted totally within the law, totally within the acceptable social mores of the day. They're still evil because they didn't use their psychic powers to know what would be coming decades or even centuries down the road. It's George Orwell's 1984 gone mad. But I really don't think that's much of a revelation to anyone with half a brain in their head, anyone who's been watching the madness unfold. What I think a lot of people aren't thinking about, and what I really got smacked with not too long ago when I made my suspicions known in a discussion, is that the whole idea, popularized by the far left, of listen and believe, is taken far more seriously than even I thought. Because when any accusation, no matter how unfounded, no matter how unsupported, is expected to be taken seriously, and the man, and it's always a man you notice, but the man is always to be demonized, is that just making accusations, even without a foundation, is a perfect way to get a political rival out of the way, or to discredit a social detractor. And let's be honest, that's exactly what happens. Sticking with the political realm for the moment, it's funny how very few of the accusations ever actually go to court, isn't it? I mean, ever? Accusations against Trump just evaporated when Trump won the election. Accusations against Ben Carson just stopped being talked about when Carson dropped out of the race. And the claims made against Roy Moore, funny, but nobody making said claims can take them into the courtroom where they actually have to prove their case. None of these things would ever make it before a jury. They'd all get thrown out because they're just he said, she said cases. And funny, they all show up right before an election and only where the political left is losing. Convenient, huh? Because they know that the court of public opinion doesn't care about facts. It doesn't care about evidence. It doesn't care about who's guilty and who's not. Just the mere suggestion that someone might have done something wrong, maybe, at least someone said so, is enough to ruin someone's life and livelihood. Because facts don't matter anymore. Only feelings do. And the politicos realize this, and they can just make up unsupported lies about anyone they want, and the damage is done whether anyone can substantiate the claims or not. Because nobody cares. It's an ongoing witch hunt to cleanse society of wrongthink, whether the wrongthink exists or not. And it seems like nobody really wants to talk about that. As I said, I brought it up in a discussion that these were just allegations, that no one had produced any actual evidence or taken the case into a courtroom, which is the only place where these decisions can legitimately be made and justice can legitimately be carried out. And I got immediately attacked because I don't blindly listen and believe. Never mind there's no evidence. Never mind that the timing of these claims is absurdly convenient. I have to believe it, or I'm an evil person. It's a good thing I couldn't care less what anyone thinks of me. But what do you think? Do you agree that all of these wrong-think purges are ridiculous? I mean, if it can be shown that someone broke the laws that existed at the time and the statute of limitations hasn't expired, then yeah, they should be held accountable for their crimes. But otherwise, it's just social slander. And when you look at people like Emily Linden, who tweeted that she's perfectly fine with innocent men getting their lives ruined by false allegations of rape, it's clear that the far left has no morals or ethics. They just want to win at any cost. And since it's pretty clear they can't win any election fairly, they have to cheat. And honestly, is anyone really surprised at that?
Everything changes.